Hi there, welcome. Very excited to have you here. My name is Michael Makabi, and I'm going to be the presenter today for this session. I really appreciate you hopping on. Just a little quick background of who I am and really what this is all about. I'm a 17-year veteran in the commercial real estate sector. I'm an entrepreneur, tech investor. I'm also a business consultant. Started as a real estate broker 17 years ago. I also dived into development construction. I have a contractor's license. Started in Los Angeles, California. Today residing in beautiful Miami, Florida. So on the right, you can see a few of my brands. My website is michaelmaccabi.com. Feel free to go and look me up. Got a ton of video content there for people. I also happen to be very excited about this. Took me 3 years. Author of an upcoming book called My Real Estate Bible, which is over 700 pages. Beautiful book. I think it's a work of art. We have an online university training that teaches people how to get into the commercial real estate sector, how to grow and excel to become a syndicator, which is primarily what I do today. Our fund is called the Broadbridge Fund. There's the logo down here below. We also own a obviously real estate brokerage based out of California. So let's dive in. Let's explain what's the purpose behind this meeting, this goal, this video. So I'm looking to partner up with 100 individuals, really savvy people, real estate oriented entrepreneurs anywhere in the United States. And the goal behind this is very simple. We're going to create very straightforward and extremely profitable joint venture together. That's why I really have you here on this session together, is because I want to dive into what I mean by that. Now, no matter what your kind of position is, if you're a beginner in the business, a novice, somewhere in between, or an expert, okay? You might need access to certain industry trade secrets, guidance, accountability, definitely need sourcing of pre-qualified leads, access to good marketing and sales flows, maybe help with recruiting, training, systems, access to off-market deal, which is really what I focus my attention on today with sellers, access to cash buyers, people to partner with, to buy deals, to sell deals to, access to capital and to debt if you're looking to do deals yourself as an investor. Now, what's my game plan? Okay, what's the point of all this and how are we going to get to this objective? So here's my plan. The number one thing I'm looking to do is create a joint venture relationship with you through introducing you to a platform called 1PropertyMarket, which is my own technology company for lead gen, sales, and marketing. It's a glorified CRM that does so much more than just tech. Then, two, I'm looking to help it source and target off-market sellers in your local territory together based on a specific asset class or multiple and a zip code that you want to go after, that you target, that you're an expert at, or that you're based out of. Three, I want to deliver and refer consistent and predictable, high quality, pre-qualified leads right into your inbox using this platform called 1PropertyMarket. And then four, the goal is to negotiate and purchase exclusive off-market deals together in the effort to earn a commission fee, which I categorize as anywhere between 1 to 6% of the purchase value, B, a wholesaling fee, because we also wholesale real estate. That's something I consider above 6%. Anything you make more margin over 6% is what I call a wholesale fee. Or C, the ultimate goal, which is to trade our fee or a portion of it into an equity stake in new ownership of that asset that we end up finding. We do that strategically through the art of syndication. That is what I do today, and I'm looking to do with you. So one of those three things. Now, what are some common business obstacles for realtors, right? You're starting out, you're advanced, doesn't make a difference. You got to build a reputable brand, a website, a sales funnel, a process, a strategy to get going. Then two, you got to source viable leads. You got to buy leads, maybe buy farm out areas, but somehow you got to get your hands on some leads to work on. Then three, you got to get a CRM. something to throw these leads into a database, sort them, clean them, organize them, write notes, etc. 4, then you got to figure out what your marketing game is. Are you going to do canvassing, door knocking, mailers, cold calling, etc., right? What's that marketing? And then you got to come up with a creative for that for your brand. 5, you got to then deploy that marketing campaign, right? So that's cost, time, effort, energy, um, and then you got to figure out how to scale that, right? Which is another massive challenge. 6, you need to have someone, if not yourself, ready to pre-qualify your new inbound leads as you go out there and market. As they come in, someone's got to field those calls, field those leads. 7, then there has to be follow up, right? This game is a relationship based business. You got to be able to follow up and nurture those leads to the point that you could get them into a contract or a deal. Now, 8 is what I call Q. You got to know how to be an expert comper. You need to know how to underwrite a deal and evaluate deals to get evaluations before you can do 9, which is send out contracts, write offers, letters of intent, purchase and sale agreements, commission agreements, etc. 10, you got to know how to negotiate, right? Which I'm hoping you're an expert. You know how to do that already. Negotiate great purchase contract terms. 11, you have to prepare offering memorandums, website, listing, preparation to sell the property, right? That's a lot of work in itself. 12, you got to start looking for qualified buyers to sell the deal to. Okay. Now, I happen to be an investor. I am very much eager to work with you and become your buyer or teach you how to become an investor with me and buy property together. 13, we got to learn how to negotiate, how to sell this to a buyer. And ideally, if we want to go and syndicate our position, we need to bring investors into the deal, and that's a process. 14, there's the escrow coordination, which is the due diligence materials all the way up until the last step, which is 15, closing, finally getting paid, which is always exciting, right? We get a little congratulations, we make some money there, which is always a good thing for everyone. That's ultimately our goal. And a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of obstacles to get to that. So what happens? What's going to be your next step, your biggest challenge after you make some money? Okay, you did all this work, you became a superstar, you made commissions, you earned. You're going to want to scale. Scaling your business is going to be your next step. But how do you do that, right? So you're going to have to figure out how to clone yourself. That's the traditional mindset of most savvy entrepreneurs. They go, all right, I know I'm killing it. I'm doing such a good job. How do I get to the point where I can now replicate myself? And you go on a frenzy binger and start slowly realizing, whoa, 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 whoa. This is a lot more complicated than you might have thought, right? So there's some requirements to scale. First, you need more human beings. You need to hire new sales reps. You got to interview them, pre-screen and qualify them. You got to train them, manage them, consistently motivate them, right? People need motivation. They're going to ask you questions all the time. You got to give them answers. You got to give them tools, office, support, CRM. You got to feed them leads. Super important. You got to feed salespeople leads. 10, you got to make sure they contact these leads, right? And then 11, you got to definitely make sure they follow up until they can get a deal on their plate in their pipeline. And then 12, you got to pray to God they don't get you sued, right? Major liability there when you start scaling and bringing on people. 13, you got to then finally watch them either burn out and quit because they can't survive in this business, or they become lazy and complacent because they're making just enough to get by, or lastly, they're overachievers and then they end up leaving you and open up their own shop, which always sucks, right? And then 14, you're going to have to go through this rinse it and repeat process until you come across a solid base, a good team, or you end up saying, you know what, maybe I'm better off just working on my own, right? So here's another random question to bring to the table. Have you ever calculated how much you earn as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson on an average hourly basis? This is something that I think a lot of people overlook, and I just want to bring to your attention. In front of us, you're going to see an annualized chart, right? For a 5-day work week, 10 hours a day, what people earn per hour. This is pre-tax, of course. So you can see on the left here, entry earner makes $3,000 a month, right? That's $36,000 a year. That translates to $150 a day or $15 an hour pre-tax. A lower earner is about 60,000. That's 5 grand a month. 250 a day. That's $25 an hour. Mid earner is 120 grand. That's $10,000 a month. That's $500 a day. That's 50 bucks an hour. High earner, 600 grand. That's $50,000 a month. $2,500 a day. 250 an hour. And then lastly, the $100,000 mark, right? That's $1.2 million in earnings. That's $5,000 a day. And that's $500 an hour that you'd be earning pre-tax. What does it cost for lead generation, right? If you're a salesperson or you want to hire someone, I just showed you what people make an hour. What would it cost for you to send out people to do door-to-door sales, canvassing, the traditional means that have been around forever? So if you're paying someone $150 a day, $250 a day, $500, $2,500, this is daily rates, right? For the entry earner, low earner, and they are managing to go and door knock, right? They reach out to 20 people a day, 50 people a day. They drive out to a neighborhood, they start door knocking. What does that translate to per door knock? So you can see some price points here. The lowest is $3 a door knock, right? Just to knock on someone's doors, introduce yourself, your brand. And the highest here is around $250 just to knock on the door. So if you were making 1.2 million, it doesn't make sense for you to go and spend your time doing that. Now, the same goes with cold calling, right? It's COVID. We're in the era of COVID. A lot of people are doing Zoom calls or doing telemarketing, phone calls. Not too many people are meeting. Hopefully that's going to get better as time goes by here and we get back to normal. But cold calling's been around forever. And if you take that same math, right, if you're able to make 100 phone calls, which I think is average, higher performers are 150 plus a day, blocking out a couple hours a day to make those phone calls, the cheapest you're going to get is $1 a phone call. And obviously, again, the most expensive is going to be $50 for one of those phone calls. So super expensive, even on the phone call level, which I want to bring to your attention. Now, if you take the time factor into all this, right? If you had a full-time person, one person, that all they did day and night was made phone calls, right? They can max out at 3,000 calls per month. Okay, don't want to get into the canvassing because that's just way lower than that. So that would be their capacity. Now, if you want to take 10,000 calls, right? It would take a person 3 months to finish a list that you either sourced, bought, whatever it is, to complete that. And depending on what you're paying them, if that's $3,000 a month, as a base salary, that would take $9,000 to make all those phone calls, just to give you a reference point. Now, what's the conclusion in all this? What am I trying to get at? Scaling your business is not as easy as it sounds. It's really time consuming. It's very cash flow intensive. At the end of the day, it's a ton of headache if you don't have the experience and the grit to see it through. But wait, there is hope in all of this, but I want to ask you a question. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could replace human beings with automation and systems, duplicatable systems? 1PropertyMarket.com, which is our technology, lead generation, sales, and marketing CRM automation platform, and it's probably going to be the only one you're going to ever need after this dialogue together today. It's designed for real estate professionals, wholesalers, investors, and pretty much anyone that's an entrepreneur out there. Now, there's the old way you've been probably used to doing things. Today in the 21st century, there's a million apps, processes, systems, and you got to be able to log in and out of all this stuff. Whether that's your website, your CRM, your ringless voicemail, your text messaging, your email, your invoicing, calendars, invites, funnels. There's a lot of stuff that you got to get involved with if you're running a business today. And what we want to show you is a simpler way, a new way, right? Where it's just you, one system we call One Property Market. So I want to walk you through an example, okay, of how we basically, what a One Property Market campaign consists of, how we go about in finding, sourcing our leads, and what this cost, what it ends up in as an ROI, as a return on an investment. I want to explain this to you as quickly as I can. So depending on whether you want a residential campaign or a commercial real estate campaign, depending on the type of owners we end up attacking, right? Let's assume you're going to buy a list, I would say, of 3,000 properties, okay, is a good starting point. It's about 15 cents a lead to buy a list from PropStream.com for residential leads, which is about 450 bucks, okay? and you own that list. And then there's the cost of, I would say, 75 cents, I believe, yeah, 75 cents a lead for Reonomy.com leads, which is a little pricier. And then, of course, there's the amazing benefit of having your old leads, right? Your own leads, a system, a CRM you've already accumulated, over the course of your tenure in your business. You have leads from other resources that you've bought. Assume that, right? So that's your initial cost, the sourcing of your leads. Now, again, we emphasize SMS, texting, and ringless voicemail, voice drops right into people's cell phones. And the cost that we incur is about 3 cents on average for a text and 5 cents for ringless voicemail, coming to a mutual cost of 8 cents for every touch, what we call reach out, that we do. And so, generally speaking, when you buy these lists from these resources, not all the numbers that you're going to get are going to be accurate. Not all of them are going to be accurate cell phone numbers as a starting point. So we take a assumption that about, I would say, 45% of the database you end up buying is going to be viable to deliver and deploy these campaign SMSs or ringless voicemails. So if you start out at 3,000, you realistically are going to probably end up around somewhere around 1,300, 1,400 viable numbers, contacts to actually work that you can get this message out to. Now, keep in mind, we also do something really cool, which is we verify with our platform whether or not the number is in fact a landline, meaning we can't deploy a text to it, or if it's a cell phone in that as well. And that just costs $30. It's like a penny to do. It's very, very affordable. And that saves us a ton of time and marketing effort. We also consolidate when we farm out a list, just to let you know, all the owners, we look for all the same like-owned properties an individual might own, and we put them together. We concatenate them so that when we send out our marketing, we don't just send out, if the guy owns 10 buildings, 10 individual text messages or ringless voicemails or mailers, whatever it is. We'll do one and include all of their assets in that one messaging, which is really neat as well. So going back to this, right? You're at 1,350 actual numbers. You're going to send them one text, one ringless voicemail on the first day, right? You're going to follow up. You can do it again. But a certain amount of people are going to answer. So that 1,350 is going to actually get dropped to 1,215 on the second day and then to about 1,100 on the third day. Each day, you're sending out, thousands, really, of touches. At the end of the 3 days, you're going to reach out to this group of 1,300 people about 7,000 times between the ringless voicemails and the text. Okay, that's an astronomical number. We touched on it earlier, how long that would take. This could happen in minutes from deployment, or we can spread it out like I did in this example over 3 days to nurture your leads and to keep touching people that don't respond. Now, if you look at the cost, right, it's 81 bucks, 70 bucks, 60. It's not really that expensive. It's probably more affordable, right, to reach out to 1,300 people than it would cost you to do it manually through phone. Definitely cheaper than mail, extremely more effective than door knocking, canvassing. Same thing goes for those phone calls, those ringless voicemails. And in the end, you're spending $200 a day. On average, I would say over 3 days, you're going to spend around 600 bucks, all right, to reach out to this many people. Now, down below here, you can see from the touches, what are average industry standards? We've sent millions of ringless voicemails and texts, and we can tell you that on average, 10% of people will respond to a cold outreach for the first time. Then you're probably going to see either the same or a little less, then a little less, it's going to trickle down. And in the end, you're probably going to get around 20, 30% of your list answering within those first 3 days. Okay, so that's 277 people that will answer. And then from that, we have generally seen about 10%, more or less, is going to be interested in whatever it is that you're soliciting. So if we're going after off-market sellers and we're saying, hey, buddy, do you want to sell your property on 123 Main Street? We're going to get 28, almost 30 people that might show an interest in wanting to do that. Now, we then stack on top of that, right? Once those interested leads come through, we add on a layer of pre-qualifying. So initially, our bots are going to qualify those almost 300 inbound leads and say, this guy's interested, this guy might be interested, this guy's a wrong number, this guy declined the offer, not interested. The robots are going to do that. And then the human beings, our team of ISAs, based out of America, by the way, these are complete American ISAs, they're going to make outbound calls for another $7 for all of those interested, those 28 interested leads They're going to call each one of them and they're going to pre-qualify them for us. They're going to nurture them for about 6 months, even after those 3 days take place. If they don't answer, they'll keep texting, they'll call them until they get them booked into an actual scheduled call for you or your team to then go in and close on a deal, right? So you can see those costs there as well. So in essence, you can see the total cost for a residential campaign at this stature. It's about 1,300 bucks. Commercial campaign would cost you about 3,000. If you have your own leads, again, it's probably the most affordable. It's around 800-900 bucks to do this. It's incredible, right? Reaching out almost 7,500 times, generating this many leads. You will never get this much accuracy. You know who the owner is because you bought the list. You know their address. You know that they're interested. They would be pre-qualified. You don't need to be the person to do that work. Okay, and then from that, we're assuming you're going to be able to close about 20%. All right, a good salesperson should close about 20% on average of the pre-qualified leads that they get. So that's about 6 potential deals. Now, on average, I do commercial real estate, so we're talking big money. But if you do residential, I took a residential example here, you make around maybe 10 grand per transaction. Keep in mind, it's off market. You are going to double end this deal. You will make around 5-6% instead of 1-2-3%. If you multiply that by the 6 transactions, you're going to make almost 60 grand in this, which is crazy. It's crazy money. The ROIs on these returns, right? If you spend 1,300 bucks, you're making 4,000%. And on if it's you already had the leads and you're just nurturing those leads in this campaign, you'd make 6,000% return, right? I don't know any business outside of maybe drug cartels that can make this type of an ROI. This is very, very exciting stuff. So this is just a synopsis to give you an example. Once you dive in, once you start working with me, this is the type of thing we're going to do to help generate deals, off-market deals for you to go in and negotiate. So very exciting stuff. Now, we've built this to be as simple as possible. And the idea here is that you get 3 basic plans. Our goal is to get you on the platform or premier plan. And what that means is for $3,000 a month, I'm going to work my way backwards actually. For $3,000 a month, we're going to partner with you. All right. We're going to, me specifically, I'm going to get involved in my team. We're going to build you a branded website. We're going to build you a branded sales funnel, very similar to what got you here, right? And then we're going to sit with you on a weekly basis and give you business and sales and marketing consulting services. We're going to white label a completely targeted marketing campaign specific to you, your brand, and source off-market seller deals, leads for us. That's the goal, right? Then we're going to also deploy your marketing, right? Because that's a big job in itself. And we primarily focus on 2 main avenues that we've seen a great amount of success in, and that's ringless voicemail and text message marketing. Those 2 things, cold calling really, and texting, bring back a tremendous amount of results and revenue. And we've been killing it for the last, I would say, 4 years. We've been making a lot of money, closing a lot of deals using this technology. And so our obstacles has become finding viable partners, people that we can actually give these leads to so that they can help us come close more deals to scale, right? I'm in the same boat as you, and that's why we're having this dialogue. But we realize that to be able to do that, we need to provide people with systems, with coaching, with assistance, with the leads to be able to nurture them to the close. So we use proprietary AI robots to pre-qualify our leads, and then we also have a human element. It's a team of ISAs that roll over and also actually call your leads, build that rapport, that initial rapport, to get them into a booked appointment for you for very affordable pricing, right? That's part of what we do with that $3,000 is we source a list, we use PropStream, is for residential leads. It's a great website. It's $100 a month, and you can source as many leads nationwide. You can get owner contact information for pretty much any residential piece of real estate in the country. We use Reonomy.com as our data source, which is a little bit more expensive. I would say it's 4-5 times more expensive, but you source the best commercial real estate leads there as well. We have access to both. We have great relationships with the businesses there, great vendors of ours, and we help you source the list. We put it into our system. We set up these very elaborate, creative drip marketing campaigns for you, all white label for you, for your brand. You then would receive these leads through the ISAs, booking the appointments, or just pre-qualifying your leads. And then you would go in and negotiate on our behalf. I would become, in essence, your buyer if you want to strategize it that way. That's what comes in with the platform program, the membership. And we then close deals together. We broker deals together. We wholesale deals together. And really, the ultimate goal is to syndicate real estate deals together. But the idea with the $3,000 platform, why it's as priced the way it is because not only do you get my involvement and the whole setup, you don't have to do anything. It's more about partnering together, and there's just physical costs. So it's really designed for entrepreneurs that are a little bit more advanced, that have businesses that have a team potentially that you want to funnel and feed leads to. That's really what the platform plan is designed for. Now, taking a step down, Premier. What do you get with Premier? Premier is basically a CRM. It's a CRM that does automated AI pre-qualification for you. There's workflow automations, triggers to really just run your day-to-day opportunity, sales funnels. There's a course and membership site as well that you can build for yourself, absolutely free, that's included. You can build websites and sales funnels on this thing, forms, surveys. You can track links, trigger links. You do professional email marketing, and you have complete KPI agent and campaign reporting throughout. So this is more for a more advanced, sophisticated entrepreneur that doesn't necessarily have a team, but that's working on them like a solopreneur, I would say it that way. And then at the base price here, we have the Grow membership, which is just $100. And you basically get a simplified version of the Premier plan for $100 a month. Now, my goal isn't to sell you technology. The premise of why I brought you onto this meeting is to really get you to partner with me. And if you're serious about your scaling, your desire to grow, your desire to become a syndicator, your desire to really make a lot more money, then this really applies to you. Okay, there's a bajillion, cajillion CRMs out there. You might be using one today. I'm not here in the marketplace trying to capture your CRM business. Even though this is probably by far the most advanced CRM you're ever going to come across as far as functionality. It does the power of like 40 different apps in one. We put a lot of capital, resources, time, and energy into really solving a lot of problems. But that's not my goal today. My goal is to see if you want to be a partner with me, go in together in that local market of yours and close deals together. All right. Now, there's a trust factor. It's first time I'm approaching you with this, right? I want you to head to 1PropertyMarket.com and just sign up for a 14-day free trial. Give it a go. Look at the platform. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to you privately, and I'm going to then do a Q&A and set you up with some more questions to learn more about your business. But the intent really is to take your efforts, your skill set, your expertise, plug it in with mine on the other end, and have One Property Market be the broker in between us to help us make a lot of money together. That's the objective here. Your talent, my talent, we complement each other. We're like two islands coming together to form one mutual island, like a joint venture. We come in, we capture business, and hopefully we not only close brokeraging deals or wholesaling deals, but we end up buying real estate together, which is my ultimate goal to do with you as my partner. So what's next steps? All right, there's a strategy session that needs to take place after you sign up for that 14-day free trial. Okay, again, going to 1propertymarket.com, www.1propertymarket.com. You can then set up a strategy session with me. We're going to introduce you or your team to the system. We're going to build out a system for you. It's not going to take forever. It's going to take a few days. We can get you up and running, and then we're going to start sending you pre-qualified leads based on what we talked about in our strategy session. My focus is off-market seller leads. I'm going to go in, I'm going to farm out that zip code, the asset class that you want to focus on, and then I'm going to blast these people, all right? And I'm going to make sure you get a steady flow of inbound leads every day, as many as you need, all right? And then your job would be then to open those doors, negotiate those terms for us, get these deals under contract, and make us both a lot of money. And if you need any help in the process of doing that, I'm going to be here to hold your hand. Now, do you have any questions or concerns to this point? Now's the time to ask, and I appreciate the fact that you listened to me to this point and for hanging in there. I'm excited to answer any of your questions. Feel free at this point to go ahead and let's communicate. Otherwise, You're welcome to head to 1propertymarket.com, get set up with the 14-day free trial, and just start rocking and rolling. It's really as simple as that. I'm very excited to start working together. Yeah, man, can't wait. Good luck either way, and I appreciate you. Take care.